for the Giants and Dodgers. And woohoo! Just to remind you how we got here. Plashke's with us. All right, let's go. Come on. You know, I mean, you said it wouldn't even be close, though. I mean, we're going to the decisive Game 5 here, Bill.
Game 5 will not be close.
How the Dodgers staved off elimination and beat San Francisco last night was Walker Buehler putting the foot attached to his leg, festooned in those gloriously tight pants. Points for everybody. Putting that foot down, all right? Short rest, big-time performance from Buehler. And what do we have now? We have a decisive fifth game. But what do we have in Plasma One? We have a panelist who would never jump to a conclusion, never flip to the last page of a book before reading the whole thing. A man who plots for all possible outcomes, not dependent on his surroundings at all. No, Bill Plaschke. Welcome back. I'm happy to have you back.
I am stressed out, Tony. This is unbelievable. 131 years, 2,539 games they played here. I can't wait. Tony, I can't wait for Game 5. I can't wait. Why are you muting me? I can't wait for Game 5.
I didn't even get to ask you a question yet. You just assume. Go ahead, please. I'm loving to hear what you're going to say here.
This is tremendous. This is the greatest things in baseball history. Dodgers, Giants playing for it all. The Dodgers have the advantage clearly now. They have the momentum. Julio Urias, they've won his last 12 starts. The Dodgers have won 2 elimination games in the last 2 weeks, 5 elimination games in the last 2 years. A lot of the Giants have never played in an elimination game. The Giants are, I tell you, they're better than I thought they were. They're a really good team, and I give them full props. But their journey, well, what are you laughing? I'm admitting that they're better than I thought they were. They're actually a really tough team.
Yes, where you been? They won 107 games this year, Bill. They won 10 over the Dodgers 9 in the regular season. Well, I guess Bill just decided we're going to ask who's got the advantage in this series now that LA tied it last night.
Yes.
Kevin, you want to join us?
Is that what the question
is? It is
I'm
now.
sorry, I forgot from the start of this. So who's got the advantage tonight? Well, clearly the Dodgers still have the advantage. I mean, all the talent on that team, the injuries that they overcome, still 109 wins, matching the Giants. And so, yes, of course, they're going to have the advantage. But if I'm not mistaken, Bill, Logan Webb, who's on the mound for the Giants, looked pretty good against the Dodgers earlier. 7.2 innings, 10 strikeouts, really sharp for a young pitcher. It looks like unless the Dodgers can really get him off his groove, maybe make him throw a lot more pitches than he wants to pitch, that could be a problem for him. Of course, the other problem for the Giants, though, is the rest of the pitching staff, because it looked like they used everybody but Juan Marshall last night, right? So they're going to be up against it. I give the advantage to the Dodgers, but I'm not taking anything away from Logan Webb if he can perform like he did in Game 1.
Pablo Torre joined us.
Yeah, look, it's easy to laugh at the Giants. They used 22 players in last night's game, 8 pitchers. It was like one of those big finales in a Marvel movie, except I knew none of who the people are. Like, it was the exact opposite in that sense. But here's the thing with the Giants and those pitchers that KB was alluding to. Yes, they have a lot of guys who are struggling right now, but they have 3 pitchers in particular that I think will focus really, really importantly in on this game, because in Rogers, in Doval, their closer, and in Webb, they have 3 guys that the Dodgers have yet to score on at all this series. So the question is, how much can those guys get innings in this pivotal game? I think that's going to be the strategy for the Giants, and that should, I think, pay off.
And Clinton Yates.
Bill, they're better than you thought that they were. Where have you been all of August and September when the Dodgers were streaking like crazy and couldn't make up a game on the Giants?
They were beating the Diamondbacks. They were beating the Rockies. No. Yeah,
the games all count the same, and you can look at it. You can look at it right now. Is why that matters is because the Giants are at home. This to me means that you have an advantage by default when you're playing a baseball game. That said, I think the Dodgers are in an extremely good position with Gavin Lux. Every single time that guy started a game since August, they're 17-2. They play better. They play a run better with him in the actual lineup. So they have a chance here, obviously. But for 2 teams this evenly matched, I'll bring it down to home field because that's when you get a chance to win for sure.
There's a stat out there about teams who score first in this matchup. Clinton, you don't really subscribe to that, it sounds like.
Not particularly. I'm not really going with that. These teams are just too close in talent. And overall, Max Muncy's gone. There's injuries on the other side. This is going to be a good one.
Plaschke, I'll let you get the last word here.
Well, the Dodgers, Mookie Betts is batting over 400 in elimination games. Cody Bellinger showed up. Justin Turner's a big game player. The Dodgers have played. They just play too many big games. They're too deep. They're too experienced. The Giants are great. They're a real fun team, but they're too young for this moment. They need to win in stages. The Dodgers have been here before. The Giants haven't. Dodgers win.
Clinton, thank you very much for saying it. People say things like, oh, they're better than I thought. Or Pablo, you said it yourself, I don't even know these guys' names. That's on you, Pablo Torre. That's on you, Bill Plaschke. You're going the wrong way. We'll move on. Let's talk America's team, the Houston Astros. Just rolling Chicago out. So the plunking of Abreu, the talk that there was sign stealing, it's all over now. But La Russa was steamed about the hit by pitch. He has all winter now to de-steam. Clinton, was there anything there? And then also, is Houston proving to you that they are who they thought they were?
No, there's nothing there. This has big, grumpy old man energy with Tony La Russa yelling about things in terms of what actually happened that matter. It's not that, okay? The issue is that the Astros are simply a better baseball team right now than the White Sox, whose pitching did not show up. People forget because of the cheating scandal and all these things that have happened. Astros are still a very, very good baseball team, and they proved that. So Chicago's got some ways to go, but worrying about this, guys getting hit when the season's over, you got bigger things to fix right now, La Russa.
Pablo, you want to start on that little hit by pitch or the sign stealing back and forth?
Yeah. No, Tony, I loved La Russa Wilbon waddling as fast as he could out to home plate to contest this. That was delightful. Right. But ultimately, I do agree with Clinton that there was no logical reason for this to happen. I mean, Kendall Graveman got traded to the Astros at the trade deadline from the Mariners, right? This wasn't like a guy who was steeped in any of the bad Astros culture, allegedly. And beyond all of that, right, the Astros just scored 8 runs a game. They just destroyed the White Sox. The White Sox had the best ERA as a team in the American League over the season, and they got blown up because the Astros, to Clinton's point, they made 5 conference finals in a row, right? I mean, this is something conference series. Excuse me. My sports are messed up. But the point is, they're really good, and we should respect them for it.
Kevin Blackistone.
Well, that's the bottom line, Pablo. This is number 5 in a row in the championship series. It is like they are a fixture. You can hate them because of what they did, because of the trash cans, but you know what? They continue to roll. They get a new skipper in Dusty. Didn't want this job, just wants to be in baseball and do what he does best. And look what he does with this particular team. And the core of that team that everybody likes to hate is still there. Altuve, not batting as well as he once did, but made a big difference last night. Bregman, Correa, this is basically the same team, and they continue to dominate their half.
Plaschke, did the Astros prove that they are who they thought they were? Even though everyone wants to point a finger at them, they are still the team that they thought they were.
Well, you know what? I'll never respect the integrity of the Astros as long as they have those cheaters on the team. However, I will say they are a lot tougher. They are really a tough team. I got to admire their toughness. I've been there, Dodger Stadium, when they came into play. These guys are harassed and jeered, and the cry of cheater, cheater, every time they take a step anywhere on the field, these guys. It's unbelievable, and yet they continue to perform. 18 of the 31 runs in that series were accomplished with 2 outs. They're a clutch team. And Correa, especially Correa runs around the bases holding his hand to his ear. I mean, Correa, he's inviting all the torment, and they're every bit as big as all the abuse they're taking. Again, I don't admire their integrity at all, but I love their toughness.
KB Becky.
Yeah, I mean, they have not run from their status as villains. In fact, they have embraced it and wrapped themselves in it. And as you have said, Bill, I mean, they have invited this criticism, and they seem to enjoy to put it back in people's faces. It's an amazing turnaround.
Yeah, I respect the fact that they're this good. The indictment really is the fact that if they're this good, why do they ever need to do any of the things they did? That is a fair argument. But in terms of the team on the field, with so few guys left on this team who were there in 2017, I give them a lot of credit for what they're pulling off.
And see why.
This is what the leadership of one Johnny B. Dusty Baker provides you. This guy has been around this game long enough to teach a team like this how to stay mentally prepared. It's why he was the best hire and why he's taken 5 teams to division titles so far in his career.
One more story here. It was a moment last night. Josh Hader versus Freddie Freeman. You could just watch this matchup forever. You knew it was going to be huge, and it's what both sides wanted. But Freeman winning the battle, the 8th inning go-ahead series-winning home run, because 3 outs later, Atlanta knocked Milwaukee out and advanced to the LCS. Pablo, did Hader blow it by going after Freeman like he did?
I mean, Hader, Tony, threw a slider. He's the second lefty Freeman has ever to hit a home run off of Hader, period. The fact is Hader hadn't been scored upon since July 28th, I think. It's all something that was going to happen at some point, but the timing was terrible. I think the bigger story here is the fact that the Brewers hitting under 200 on the series, under 100 in terms of runners in scoring position. This was a bigger problem for them than just that one.
It was a very well-pitched series. Clint Yates, you saw that matchup. You get excited about that matchup. Hader versus Freeman. How did Freeman win it?
I would qualify it as big on big, and I think that he thought if he dials him up a fastball and he runs into one, the chances of it going out are a lot higher than him going oppo on a slider. Freeman got that pitch. That was simply a great piece of hitting matched up against him. So he's only the second guy. I mean, he's the only person that's ever gone out on him twice from the left side. Never mind the second guy to do it overall. So to me, that's just a matchup of two power players, and one guy got
Latchkey?
You guys know who the first lefty to homer off him was, don't you? Cody Bellinger. He'll be back in Atlanta next week for a replay of the.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
I'm just bringing it up.
Information.
I'm just bringing it up. But I was very. You know what? This whole thing is all about Devin Williams. If he didn't break his hand, they're great. They're great middle setup man. Hader would not be pitching in that situation. Hader overthrew the ball. I think this all goes back to the minute Williams broke his hand, the Brewers.
That was a big loss. But hitting in this series was nowhere to be found for Milwaukee. Blackistone, last word.
Yeah, I was just going to say about Hader, you know, one of the reasons that he's become even more lethal is the fact that he's using a slider to his advantage even more and more. And this time he happened to go to it. You'd like to see him go to the fastball, but, he chose his second pitch. Just got beat.
Last word after the horn.
Yeah, I mean, Yelich just disappeared completely in this series. And if you go 2 for 23 with runners in scoring position in a series, you're not going to win. That's the Brewers' issue right now, not with
Tony, if the Dodgers win Game 5, I want some of those points back next time. I want a lot of those points
It's not that they can't win. I mean, it's just that you're saying it's over before we even get a chance to play the game. That's the problem, Bill. It's not that they're good. We know they're good. You're bleeding right now. Some Dodger blue as we go to break. -10 for Latchkey. Fire sell next.
You're unbelievable.
Record of any team. However, Lakers 0-5. Last night, first time LeBron and Davis and Westbrook got on the floor together. LeBron indicating it's going to take them a minute, quote, it's going to take us a minute, end quote.
It's going to take a minute.
Bill, buy or sell?
I'm buying. It's going to take him time. I'm not worried. Nobody should be worried about this. They have 11 new players. They have the oldest team in NBA history. They've all said this. It's going to be hard. This is going to be fun, perhaps fun for them down the road, but it's going to be hard stuff right now. Trying to get everything integrated, trying to get Westbrook integrated. They're all playing different positions, different roles now. They're trying to figure out who sacrifices, who doesn't. It'll take time. Talk to me in March.
I think everybody agrees with that, Bill. My question is, why did LeBron even feel the need to address that the preseason means nothing and it takes time?
Because it's the Lakers. My goodness, everything they do, every move they make is dissect under a microscope. Everything they do, LeBron, everything he does is everybody criticizes and talks about.
KB,
I don't blame him for saying
buy or sell LeBron even addressing the 0-5.
I'm going to buy it because LeBron addresses everything, whether we ask it or not, which is one of the things I actually like about him. I like it a lot more than that green sweatsuit he was wearing. But you know what? The point is that in preseason, actually, the games that we see are less important than the practices that go on day in and day out. That's the real key. How are they doing in practice? How are they getting their work in?
I don't know if LeBron addresses everything, Kevin. Pablo Torre, buy or sell?
Yeah, I feel like LeBron was responding to this because Russell Westbrook basically came out and said, if you're worried about me turning the ball over 1,000,000 times, ha ha ha, I don't care about any of you and what you think. And I think that's just LeBron sort of balancing the scales out a little bit. But the reality, Tony, is this. They could start 0-5 in the regular season, and I would give you the same answer. What happens to Anthony Davis and LeBron James health-wise when it comes playoff time? That's what the question is always about.
What are they calling them, Bill? 360 degrees, the big three there? I mean, the reason why it matters is because, the spotlight is on them. Expectation management is going to be a big part of what this Lakers team has to deal with game by game by game because of exactly what you mentioned. They are the big thing that everybody's looking for. So, no, I'm not necessarily worried about the basketball, but this is definitely going to be something we're talking about all season long.
Buy or sell two.
I'm not going to be on him about it.
Diana Taurasi on the lack of charter flights in the WNBA. Quote, we pay for everything. This is the WNBA and we pay for it? It's frustrating because there are people that would like to help and it's against CBA rules. So Getting to game one was difficult. Getting back has been difficult. Tonight's game two, Mercury Sky KB, we'll get to the game in a second. The league says it's corrected the issue going forward, but that was still the WNBA Finals started with the Mercury, as they said, not touching the floor until tip. How do you hear Taurasi there?
Oh, I hear her loud and clear. I mean, I thought that this was a problem that was taken care of after the Aces got, had to fly People Airlines all the way over here to Washington to play the Mystics a couple of years ago. And you thought that it was done then and that there was some equitable treatment when it came to travel for the men and the women. And clearly still there's not, so now they're going to correct it yet again. Let it not happen again, please. The WNBA, the parent organization, has enough money to fly women on charter flights when needed.
Pablo, when you consider that the finals started with the team, and you could say competitively, this is the way it should be. They got forced to a game 5, but they barely got into the arena in time to play game 1 of the finals. So they have beef?
Yeah, they do. Taurasi said it herself. Like, this is why they play in Russia in the offseason. This is why they got to play internationally, to make money, to actually fuel a lifestyle that is commensurate with that of a pro athlete. But, Tony, the big problem, I think, with the Mercury, it's not flights, it's runs. They gave up 17 in a row to the Sky. They gave up 24 in a row to the Aces in the last round. That's a defensive issue that they got to get fixed.
Those aren't runs. That's full-on cardio. Talk about the game for us, Clinton Yates. What do you expect game 2?
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's unfortunate, too, because this is another situation where this kind of disheartening logistical setup really distracts you from a very good series. I mean, Candace Parker's out here taking her hometown team back. Kalia Cooper's having a great series. My homegirl Steph Dolson is getting it done. Like, we could be talking about basketball, but instead the GOAT is worried about planes. That is not cool. You got to fix that.
All right, Plashke, break down this game for us. We're going to go all around the horn here on what to expect tonight in game 2 and adjustments.
Well, as I said on this show several weeks ago, the Sky is going to win the WNBA.
You did have it.
I said
when
it.
They were 500. Yep, you had it.
Candace Parker's going to lead into. But I'm so mad, and Clinton's right. Why are we talking about travel? This is on Adam Silver. NBA, if you're going to sponsor the WNBA, take care of it, make it equitable. We should not be talking about these issues other than
I
basketball.
appreciate it.
I'm furious about that.
Good. We talked about it. Can we now break down the game? Kevin Blackistone, adjustments Phoenix needs to make tonight.
Well, one thing they need to do is play better defense. And another thing they need to do is not play from behind. And they need to get Taurasi back to what we just saw her doing about a week ago, which was torching anybody who came close to her. And I think that that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Sky put 6 in double figures last game. What for game 2, Bob?
Yeah, no, Tony, it's the fact that there are lapses that go on for way too long. The reason they lost this game was because they gave up 17 in a row and then never got the lead back. I mean, it's
You've already said
they
that.
dig themselves in.
Yes. Well, it was a good point. He needed to make it twice. I walked him right
into my analysis. Bill's criticizing people for repeating themselves now. Really? That's where I am in my life? This is sad.
Yes, I am.
Flash.